Welcome to The Crunch with Crib. I'm Jess, and each episode I'll be talking with some of WA's best real estate agents and business people to find out what makes them tick and what lessons they've learned on their journey to success. Peter Peard started Peard Real Estate in 1997 after a short but successful career in residential and land sales. Since then, he's built a business that spans 12 locations and he's had to consistently review and refine his business model in order to meet the market. Having interviewed two of Peard's top reps, Tash, Welburn and Todd, Utley last year, it was a pleasure to sit down and talk with Peter, and it's really easy to see why his reps are so straightforward and down to earth. And we got some insight into what it takes to run a business that has had such long-term success in such a challenging market. Peter, welcome to The Crunch. Thanks, you so
Jess.
much.
Thanks you.
Thanks for your time. Me. Very welcome. So the first thing I always ask our guests on The Crunch is, what is your background? How did you get to where you are today? So can you give us a brief?
I started in about 92 as a rookie for Shareholder Real Estate. Mm-hmm. And within about 4 or 5 years, I was a shareholder in one of the Shareholders offices.
Okay. It's a quick ascent.
It was.
Yeah.
It was. Yeah. I had my hands full. I was selling a lot of real estate and managing and so on. So it was good fun.
Yeah.
And then the Shareholder group got out of selling residential houses and just focused on their land subdivisions.
Okay.
So I then went over to Australand selling land for them. Mm-hmm. Spent only about 13 months there. And then I tended to sell a land subdivision in the northern suburbs, won the tender, and I opened up my own agency from there.
Okay.
And that's back in 97 I started that.
Okay. So started in residential, then went to land, and then went back to residential.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
What prompted the move back and forth?
There was a lot more money to be made in land subdivisions, and it was a lot easier to sell land because you just had one or two vendors, not 20 or 30 or so on.
Yeah.
And then, so I was focusing on the land. I had a few land subdivisions, and I had approached from a few agents that said, I want to come and work for you, selling houses, established houses.
Okay.
And I said, come on board, but this is what I pay. I don't want any nonsense like it used to be. Sort of do it my way or the highway. And they come on board, and it just morphed over time. I didn't even really try to push it. And next thing I had a lot of agents working for me, and they just got on board, and then I started pushing the marketing and everything that we're now doing, and it just grew from there.
Okay. So what pushed you to start your own agency, to go out on your own?
It was to chase the land subdivisions, which we haven't done a lot of in recent times. It was just doing something different. Yeah. And then, as I said, it morphed back into general agency. I had watched agents for years at, little corner stores that didn't make any money, and the reps always had a gun to the principal's head saying, I want more money, or I'm going to leave. And it had been going on like that for 20, 30 years. I thought, this isn't the way to do business. So I had to get scale, I had to get big quickly. Yeah. So I got a lot of reps on board, and that then grew from there.
Okay. Yeah. I wanted to ask you about the reps, and we can come back to it later, but I guess, why do you think it was in those early days when you were selling land subdivisions, but you had agents coming to you that wanted to sell residential? What was it about the way you were operating that made them want to come and work for you?
That's a good question. We're having a lot of fun, that's for sure. I think it's just, I actually was paying a bit more than the average agent back then, so they were attracted by the extra bit of money, but I still left enough, because I got scale and I got volume, I could still, afford to start doing some marketing and things like that. And we had low overheads back then, and obviously business grows, the overheads have gone up significantly.
As they do.
Yep.
So tell me about the growth then. What's been the strategy behind the growth of, because you're now at 12 locations.
Yep.
So, and you said you were kind of looking to scale pretty early on.
Yes.
What was behind that?
Well, once I sort of found that I had 20 or 30 reps, and I thought, well, I'm in it now. So I got to keep
the
paddling.
one location?
I had about 20, 25 from one location.
Okay.
And then we opened up another office further up north, and that went really well. And it just, I just thought, well, actually this is going really well. And it's making good money and having a lot of fun, and we're selling a lot of properties, and we're starting to win a lot of awards, and it just sort of, started to get exciting. So we started to grow. It was a good market. And then we started building the rent roll, and that added a lot of asset and equity to the business. So.
Tell me about the brand, I guess the Peard brand. How did you define it early days? How did you want to be perceived in the market, and how has it changed? And I guess both internally, that, recruiting side that we were talking about, and also by the market.
Yep. Once I realised that we had to, scale up and get more reps and more offices, we started spending more on marketing, like we're very dominant at the football and telethon. We donate, generously every year to those charities, and we did a lot of other charity work back then as well. So that really got the brand out there, that we were a good community, group and community based and all those sorts of things. So that generated a lot of business for us. It worked really, really well. It then attracted more, externally. Then it started attracting more reps as well, because they could see what we're doing. They want to be part of it. We were getting more phone-in appraisals than the average agent, so they were getting more leads and things like that. So, and then internally we were doing, new systems and really supporting the reps with, more marketing and, as I call it, listing tools, magazines and social media and e-focus, and we're always sort of, I think, ahead of the curve in WA for those sorts of things, and definitely. That attracted the reps because they could see a lot of things we're doing. When they went and did an appraisal, they had so many tools in their toolkit and all the little 1%ers that added up for them that helped them get business. And still does today. Yeah,
I was going to say that's something obviously that you're still really focused on, because you mentioned social media. You're one of the first bigger offices to offer that internally for your reps, and all of those things are still, obviously
we got, till recently we had 3. We've now got 2 marketing girls in our department, which is probably unheard of, for a sole operator to be doing that sort of thing. So.
And they work like absolute troopers.
Yes, they do. They're brilliant. Been with us a long time.
Shout out to the girls.
Thanks, Daya and Claire. Doing a brilliant job.
So obviously the last 10 years have been pretty tough, and it sounds like, you're talking about early days of Peard. It really harks back to a very different time in real estate, I guess. How have you changed your strategy, and how have you kind of stayed afloat in the last, especially recently we've seen lots of closing and merging of offices. So how have you done things differently?
Well, when you say 10 years, it's been, property values haven't really done anything for 10 years. And in fact, we probably all should have rented for the last 10 years. Would have been cheaper. And we've seen no growth in our property. So from that point of view, you're right, but I'm not saying everyone to go rent now, because it's probably about to turn and we'll make some money. And that's traditionally how people build their wealth, is through their properties. So, as far as that goes, it's been a tough 10 years. But the sales volume has really been probably problematic for the last 3 years, where I don't know the exact stats, but there's upwards of 800 or 900 sales a week in Perth, and it's now down at 450, 500. So it's pretty bad. It's a 40% drop. So we've just dealt with that by scaling down. Unfortunately had to make redundancies and let people go, and our rep numbers have dropped, mainly getting out of the industry. They just can't afford to hang in there. So our staff numbers dropped, so that's dropped our payroll down. We had a lot of secondary stores in the suburbs where we were full, and now we've been able to scale down, less staff, so we've got less space, so we dropped off a lot of leases. So that's been a big help. We've had to make some chops in all areas, marketing, not giving pay rises, which is problematic across WA. We're not immune to that. So we've, just chop. And you try not to make it a detriment to your reps. You don't want the reps to even know that's happening. They know it's happening behind the scenes, but as long as it doesn't affect them, they don't really worry about it too much. So, just getting lean and mean, I suppose.
I assume, what was your, with the minimum wage coming in and that being something that, I guess in the last couple of years, that coupled with the lower sales volume, I assume would have made quite a big impact as well. Is that something that you thought was a positive for the industry, will be a positive in the future?
Yeah, well, no one likes to lose revenue, and we've probably had 20 or 30 reps or 20 that were under that threshold. That I'd say half have already left and gone off to work for someone else that thinks going to turn a blind eye to it, and possibly they will, which is not fair, but that's that's the way it happens, I suppose. And then the other 10, we're training them now to really step it up, and some have stepped up, which has been great for everyone. So we're hoping, that we can keep those guys on board, and as I said, they have stepped up. Quite a few of them have been in the industry a long, long time, are really successful salespeople. And, 10 years ago, and now they're just coasting, which they should be. So I've just said to them, listen, you just need to step up a little bit towards where you were before 10 years ago, and you'll be fine, because they don't want to get out of the industry. They love it. So you try and look after people like that.
Absolutely. So I also wanted to chat about, obviously, lots of these conversations focus on sales, but property management is such an important part of the business. You mentioned bringing in the rent roll and bringing in that asset.
Yep.
And I understand that you've recently restructured your property management department.
Yep.
So I wanted to ask about how that fits into your business structure now.
Well, the business model was always where each office was owned by its own proprietary limited, and we'd have various shareholders in that proprietary limited, and Peards had always owned at least 51% of it. And just recently we've rolled it into one business. So we've got one sales division and one rent roll. So the costs, we get rid of all those company asset expenses and bank fees and, all sorts of things. And instead of having, 12 managers, we're now only got, I think, 8 or 9. So and there's a lot more synergies in there now, and through software, there's huge savings in the rent roll. So we've got, I think, 31 properties, 3,100 properties under management, which is probably third or fourth biggest rent roll in the country. So.
So your managers are based in different locations, but it's all centrally, like there's
a central
we're bringing
system. It in at the moment to less locations. So
we're
instead of running a rent roll from every shop, we might run 3 or 4, from the shops, and have them more centralised, working together, and more streamlined. So
and how long have you been working on that change? That's a fairly big.
It was supposed to only take 6 months. It was taking 2 years. Probably 70% there. There's all been sorts of tax issues to deal with, and swapping companies and all that. So it's been a bit of a headache, but we're getting on top of it, and it's working. We're already seeing some big savings on our payroll now, which has been significant. So. And
was it received well by your shareholders and the people in the internal staff?
Yeah, I thought there'd be a lot more pushback, but no, it's been really good. I was in one of the offices yesterday, and we've just merged 2 of the property managements together, or 2 or 3 of them, and all the girls are now working together instead of separately, and they're all enjoying it.
That's excellent.
It is. It is.
Back onto your agents, because I wanted to ask about your reps, because there seems to be, you have a fairly large cohort of reps who've been with you for a really long time, and there's a real sense of loyalty to you and to the brand. And especially in a time now where lots of people, it's tough, so people are moving around and looking for, another option. What do you think it is about your business and you that kind of gets that loyalty?
Well, a lot of it's to do with the culture. We, once again, we're cutting on costs, but, we used to have the best parties and trips to LA and all sorts of things going on. But still have our parties and that, but not as big as and grand as what they were. We used to give away cars and all sorts of stuff. But, I think it's a bit corny to say it's like a family, but in some ways it sort of is. That, we help out our reps a lot, and if they're in a bit of a pickle, a bit of a bind, we step up and help them out, whether it's financially or, going through a separation or ill or whatever. So we've always prided ourselves on looking after our people, and, I'm always the phone, pick up the phone and talk to me whenever you want. I think that's, kept them there, kept the loyalty. They appreciate, you're always going to get the odd one that will let you down. You do a lot for them and they let you down, but 9 times out of 10 they repay it back in spades. So,
sounds like it's a large business that's got the feeling of a small business, I guess.
Yeah, it's still pretty personalised. It is. Yeah, it is. It's And then, you now got a situation where reps are moving around a lot. There's, huge packages being thrown at people. And, I used to always bag those organisations out that they won't last. And till recently, I've probably been correct because they try and offer all the bells and whistles that the likes of we do. And they want to pay all the reps all the money. And then they go broke. They literally go broke. So, and then they'll go do property management at stupid fees. And the rent roll's worthless because they're not getting proper fees and all those sorts of things. So, but with the new, there's a new wave of agencies coming through that, got single offices and the reps can work so efficiently now remotely, from their phones and laptops and do it from the comfort of their own lounge and things like that. So, maybe that model's there to stay. So that's what we're looking at now. How do we, combat that? And I've got to change my business model. I changed it 20 odd years ago. I now got to change it again. And it's probably feeling a little bit like a swan taxi driver at the moment.
Yeah.
Going, Uber will go away, they'll go away, and I'll give you someone a free bottle of water and be all good. But no, it doesn't quite work that way. So I've got to evolve to
stay agile and
match what they're doing, and try and not make it at the expense of the brand and the culture and all those sorts of things. And there is a risk of that. But the self-sufficient reps, the motivated ones, will definitely keep going, and they can possibly make more money out of it.
On the changes in the industry, I guess, and the way technology is disrupting, and the smaller operators coming in, there is a lot of change happening. What are your thoughts on the next few years and the way the industry is going to go? Or do you think the likes of, the purple bricks and that kind of model is sustainable, or are there any trends that you kind of see emerging that?
I think the trends towards paying the reps more, and that possibly, as I said before, is here to stay. It's been operating like that in America for a long time. You get one office that employs 300 reps. And it seems to work. So maybe it works here, and that's what I'm exploring at the moment. Your purple bricks, no, it'll never work. It was never going to work, and they're just torching money. The difference here is that in Australia, you got, compared to the UK is more like a clerical type role. It's not salesy as much as it is here. So you need to look after your top reps. So there's no way a top rep of mine that's earning $300,000 a year, selling 50 odd properties a year, is going to go work for the likes of Purple Bricks for $3,000 a property. So the consumer's not getting good quality people working, probably lovely people, but not good salespeople working for them, and they can't attract good people. So I didn't think the model will ever work. Maybe I'll eat humble pie one day, but looking at their losses and the people they're employing, I just don't think it can work. And it works fine in the UK. They've got big market share, but it's a different ball game.
Okay. What about the way the expectation of consumers? So you just mentioned one thing, that the expectation here is that people want to be looked after. Is there any other, I guess, changes that you've noticed over the past few years in terms of what your buyers and sellers are expecting from their reps?
I think it's the same
from you as a brand.
Anyone now. We're all more demanding, and we want things quicker, and the internet speed's not quick enough, and the phone doesn't work quick enough, and all the rest of it. So, if I go back, I won't bore you with the detail, but when I first started, you'd list a house, and it took a week to get the photography through, to put in the window and the magazines, and so you'd say to a client, your house will be live in about 10 days' time. Because it took every time to get everything done, whereas now it's just bang, bang, bang. And they're whinging if it's not on the internet in 2 hours. So they're ringing up, screaming at you guys, and so on and so on. So everyone's just more demanding. Everyone wants things now and instant gratification and blah, blah, blah. So
absolutely.
The consumers, both buyers and sellers, are more demanding. But, is that a bad thing? Not necessarily. We can move a lot quicker now.
I guess it's easier to be... easier to be available and on call.
Maybe too much. We're all answering emails at 10 o'clock at night, and we really shouldn't be. But, you don't get a break from it. It's just constant. So
People have an expectation that you're going to be there.
Yes.
So,
and I even notice that now with your bank managers and professional people that would normally not take a call after 5 o'clock, and they'll respond to your emails and
straight
texts
away
at 10 or 11 o'clock at night. So.
Well, I guess there's so many people that if they don't respond, someone else will.
That's right.
So they have to be on call.
Yep.
What do you look for when you're hiring your internal staff? Because they're so important to your business. We mentioned your marketing team who, do such a great job. What are you looking for in your sales and in your administration staff, I guess, or even in your sales guys as well?
Well, the success of the business the backbone of the business is your salespeople. If you haven't got salespeople, you haven't got commission. If you haven't got commission, you can't pay your staff. So, and I know a few of the staff get a bit bent about that, but that's the reality of it,
Yeah.
So they say, oh, why is that rep earning $300,000 a year? So, because he gives up his weekends and he's in people's houses at 8 o'clock at night. Do you want to do that? Oh, no, I don't want to do it. Well, you're not going to make $300,000 a year. So, but what do we look for? Yeah, our staff are excellent, and some of them have been there for 15, 20 years, and they're superb. So I guess, just look for a good work ethic and go the extra mile. They have to put reps up there, number one, because they're the ones that bring home the bacon, and the ones that do will go the extra mile for the reps, and reps aren't perfect. Some of them are quite demanding and unreasonable. So we try and knock that out of them. But just people with good work ethic and enjoy working for us and like the brand and like what we do. And, I'm out handing out awards to a couple of our admin people at the moment, and, they like that sort of thing. And, we look after them really well.
What's your time spent doing these days? What's your main focus on within the business? Obviously, there's lots of moving parts.
Mainly business development, I suppose, talking to reps about coming on board and talking to reps about staying on board.
So you're very much still involved in the people aspect of the business then? Yeah,
not as much as I used to be, but I'm still there, just a phone call away. But a lot of my strategy is on, changing the business model to keep the reps happy and me happy. Financing the business, growing the rent roll acquisitions, just basically business development is most of my day now.
Yeah. When you started Peard out all those years ago, what are some of the main values that you've kind of always built your business on or done, stuck by through your career?
Having a good work ethic, looking. Really looking after your clients. We've got very much a checkbook mentality. If we muck up, we'll write our check and pay for it and apologise and admit fault. Fortunately, it doesn't happen too often, but when it does, we nip it in the bud, and most clients stay loyal and really appreciate you doing that and not trying to hide. And a lot of agents try and duck and dive and squirm out of the issue. We just hit it, head on and sort it out. So, the clients coming first, making sure that we look after their, in property management, look after their asset properly. And you don't always get it right, no one does, but overall we do. And we pride ourselves on getting them. At the moment, we're pushing the rents back up because the rents are on the increase after a few years of decline. So, we're talking to our property managers all the time. If you can get the rent up, get it up for the client, because they'll love you for it. And, we obviously get paid more to do that because we're making more money on commissions and so on. So, ethics, culture, treating people right, treating people the way the way you'd like to be treated.
What's been your toughest time in business?
Now?
Yep. Yeah.
Yep.
Just because
Darkest
of the changes?
Before dawn, they say, don't they?
That's a nice way to look at it.
I hope I'm right. Yeah.
Is that internally because you are going through so many changes? Is that the industry as a whole? Is it a combination?
It's not. It's not just our industry. It's every industry.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anyone making money in Perth at the moment, and if they tell you they're probably bullshitting to you. So it's a really, really, really tough time. There's people's businesses have declined 30-40%, in revenue. I talk to mates that have been in business 15 years longer than me, and they're normally fairly smug and quite upbeat, and they're even going, oh, wow, this is real tough.
Yeah, okay.
So, well-established business people, so.
It's just waiting for that dawn.
Yep. And, you know, there's a lot of good things happening across the state with the mining sector. So a lot of positive stories coming out. As I said, rents are starting to go up again. People are getting employed, starting to see some wage increases, and, you know, up north there, some of the tradies and that are earning more than what they were in the last boom. So, so that'll filter through to property in the next 12 months.
Absolutely. What are some of the biggest lessons you've learned in your time, whether it's in the last 3 years or over the last, you know?
I guess, you know, you always assume that things are going to get better, and, you know, I've always operated on, you know, you have a downturn and it'll last 3 to 6 months, and you go, well, we're over that, and we're back off again, and I just assumed that was going to happen again. And it didn't happen in the Perth market. It's just been a decline for the last few years. So you've always thought, oh, we're at the bottom, and it just hasn't been, you know, and I've never seen it like that before. And that's where I talk to older guys who said, I've never seen it so bad in 35 years of business, you know, so I just assumed that it would get better, and it hasn't, so never assume, I suppose.
Never assume. And my final question for you is, what would be your message to someone just getting started out in the industry?
As a rookie?
As a rookie, as a rookie, as a rookie who's looking to...
Probably not too much has changed. You know, it's the same advice you would have given 20 years ago. You know, make sure you got a bit of money behind you, because it can be a pretty tough journey. And you got to give up your weekends. You know, you just have to. And the amount of rookies that say that to, and then I hear they're not working the weekend. I say, why don't you? It's that showtime. It's when you suit up. It's when you're out there. It's when you work. I don't care what you do during the week for a couple of days, but you must be out there on the weekend, because that's when the public are out there. And I'm always shocked at how many new reps I see doing half-hour home homes. I think I used to do 2 hours. If I didn't have any listings, I'd do 2 or 3, 2 hours. Because that's where you meet people. That's that's your shop front. So they've got to put in the hours. Consider what job you're giving up. I've had people come in and say, I'm giving up a job at $250,000 a year. I say, well, I wouldn't be rushing to do that. Because it'll take you a long time to get to that level of income.
What is it about real estate that attracts someone like that? Is it the thought that they can manage their own time, or, you know, that their income is uncapped, I guess, if they work hard?
And we've got reps earning $600,000 a year. You know? So, I think it's a combination thing. It's perceived to be quite a glamorous job because you get a nice car and a suit and all the rest of it. But quite often the guys on those, or the ladies on those incomes, are maybe coming out of the mining sector that don't want to be fly in, fly out anymore. And we've got a couple of those people who have been successful, and they're probably up around that level now, but it's taken them 4 or 5 years to get there. But they've known that and haven't been delusional about it, and have gradually got there. But they wanted their time with their family and not have to fly, or a career change, just a simple career change.
There's very few jobs where you could walk straight into that kind of salary anyway, I guess. Like, you always, if you're going to change industries, you start from the bottom.
As I always say to my top reps, to earn, $300,000 to $600,000 a year, I don't know any other sales job that you can do that. And maybe you can do it in new housing or something like that. But most sales jobs, you don't earn that sort of money. And if you want to earn that sort of money, you've got to go out and buy a business for $2 or $3 million, and you'll make yourself hopefully 600, but you could also go broke. So
it's a big risk.
It's a big risk. Whereas at least with real estate, you're just getting your 2% You take your clip and you get your percentage of that. But there's really no risk other than your time and a mobile phone in the car, and it's a great industry like that. So you can make a lot of money with no risk. I mean, I take the risk because I've got to pay the advertising and all the overheads and things like that. But it's a great business. It is a great business for reps.
And you still love it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Good.
Yep.
Well, look, Pete, that is all the questions I have for you.
Okay.
It's been great to have you on.
Thanks, Jess.
We've had Todd Utley, we've had Tash Welburn,
yes,
now
I've
we've got the boss. So
yeah.
So it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Cheers. That's it for this episode. We'd love any feedback or guest suggestions, so hit me up on Instagram on Jess@Crib. And if you enjoyed the show, don't forget to subscribe and be sure to tell a friend.